Hello, welcome back to our channel. This is your host, Jack&wealth. Today we'll be talking about, did animal really talk in the beginning of creation? What happened in the Garden of Eden? The first case to examine is the talking serpent in the Garden of Eden. In Genesis chapter 3, verse 1 to 5, the serpent approaches Eve and engages her in a conversation. The serpent questions God's commands. The serpent questions God's command, asking if God really said they should not eat from any tree in the garden. Eve responds without any indication of surprise or fear at the fact that the serpent is speaking to her. This lack of astonishment is significant because if animals speaking were abnormal, one might expect Eve to react with shock or confusion. Instead, she engages in a conversation with the serpent, suggesting that she saw nothing unusual in the fact that it was speaking. Many biblical scholars believe that the serpent in this passage was being used by Satan to deceive Eve. Revelation 12 verse 9. However, whether or not the serpent was directly influenced by Satan, the fact that Eve does not seem surprised is worth noting. This could imply that before the fall, communication between animals and humans are more direct and natural than it is today. The fall, which brought sin into the world, disrupted not only the relationship between humanity and God, but also the harmony between humans and creation. The second case to consider is Balaam's donkey in Numbers 22:21 to 33. In this passage, God opens the mouth of Balaam's donkey to speak to him after Balaam strikes the donkey for refusing to move forward. The donkey questions why Balaam is treating it poorly, and Balaam responds as if the conversation is ordinary. Like in the case of Eve and the serpent, Balaam does not seem overly surprised that his donkey is speaking to him. While this event is explicitly described as a miraculous occurrence, God opened the mouth of the donkey. Numbers 22:28. The fact that Balaam engages in conversation without reacting in astonishment is notable. It could suggest that at least in the spiritual worldview of the Bible, communication between humans and animals were rare and it was not outside the realm of possibility. If we assume that animals spoke before the fall, Balaam's donkey might be an example of God's briefly restoring its lost ability to communicate. The Bible says that God allowed the donkey to speak for a specific purpose, to warn Balaam of the danger ahead. This could imply that the loss of communication between humans and animals was not part of the broader curse on creation, following Adam and Eve's disobedience. The impact of the fall on creation after Adam and Eve's disobedience, the relationship between animals and creation changed drastically. In Genesis chapter 3, 14 to 19, God pronounces curses on the serpent, on Adam and on Eve. The serpent is caused to crawl on its belly, and enmity is introduced between it and humans. Additionally, the ground is cursed because of Adam's sin, and he is condemned to toil for his food. The harmony that existed between humanity and the rest of the creation is shattered. Although the Bible does not explicitly say that the ability of communication with animals was lost as a part of the fall and the disruption in the relationship between humans and animals, sin in the introduction of enmity and suffering could have included the loss of direct communication. If animals did speak before the fall, it would make sense that this ability could be lost as part of the broader corruption of creation caused by sin. The story of the Tower of Babel in Genesis 1 to 9 further demonstrates how sin led to God altering the way humans communicate. The Tower of Babel and the confusion of language. In this story, humanity unites its pride to build a tower to the heavens. In response to their rebellion, God confuses their language, making it impossible for them to understand one another. This act of divine judgment shows that God has the power to change the way communication works as a consequence of sin. If God confused human language because of their sin at Babel, it is possible to speculate that a similar event occurred after the fall in Eden. Just as the fall disrupted humanity's relationship with God, it also disrupted the harmony between humans and animals. It is conceivable that this disruption included the loss of a shared language. Before sin entered the world, humans may have been able to communicate with animals, but after the fall, the ability was lost as part of the broader consequences of sin. Conclusion: why the Bible does not explicitly teach that animals spoke before the fall. There are several biblical passages that suggest it might have been possible if lack of surprise at the serpent's speech in the Garden of Eden and balanced, calm response to his talking donkey both point to the possibility that communication between humans and animals was once more natural. Furthermore, the story of the Tower of Babel demonstrates that sin can cause God to alter the way humans communicate, which could support the idea that the fall led to the loss of communication between humans and animals. Though speculative, this argument provides a biblical basis for considering the possibility that animals spoke before the fall.